Hi, here we are, video number 23. Now we're into October, so it might be a very good idea just to make sure that you've got some heating on in the place where you're doing your Pilates today. Because you know the environment needs to be warm so that the muscles are nice and pliable and stretchy. You want cold muscles, going to injure the muscles, so try to have a nice warm environment. And today we're going to start off lying on our backs. So if you just take a moment to lie gently down, maybe hold on behind one thigh, tilt the pelvis and hold on to the thigh and just roll it down. And then taking a moment, of course, to set up, bring the chin down over the peach, stretch the fingertips towards the toes. Little grape resting in the small of the back, trade marbles balanced across your pelvis, so tummy braced, orange width between the knees, shoulders, hips, knees and ankles aligned. Keeping that chin down over the peach all the time. And then just reaching the arms up towards the ceiling, breathing full and wide into the rib cage. Then just make a fist and extend the fingers out. Making a fist and extend. Just reaching out, warming up those fingers, but keeping everything else stable. So keeping that zip up and hollow. And then stretching the fingers out, then rotate from the wrists. Try not to move from the shoulders, gently from the wrists only. And then change direction, make it go the other way. Hopefully there's not too many creaks and crunches going on in there. Circling those wrists. And then hold the fingers up, turn the fingers to the wall behind you, keep the elbows up high and touch the shoulders and extend. Bend and extend. Reaching fingers all the way up towards the ceiling and then just tapping the shoulders, warming up the elbows. And then just relax, turn the palms down and push down. Then extending one leg out, maybe the right leg out there, and then point and flex the foot without arching the back off the grape or moving your pelvis at all, keeping that pelvis flat. And then circling the foot around, getting flexibility into the ankle. Again, hopefully nice and quiet in the joint there. And then change direction, make it go the other way. Maybe one circle on an in-breath, one circle on an out-breath. Keeping the glass of Prosecco, of course, balanced on your left knee. And sliding that foot in, swap the Prosecco over, extend the other leg, point and flex. Pushing the heel away from you, get some stretch through the back of the leg. Still reaching for your toes, keeping the length in the back of the neck. And then circling the leg or the ankle. Holding everything else as stable as you can. And then changing direction, make it go the other way. Keep lengthening through the leg. And isolate the foot and the ankle. And then pulling that leg back in. Holding that, and then slide while the foot is flexed, the right foot out, and then point the toes and slide back in, doing alternate legs. Flex as you slide out, and point to slide in. Keeping everything else as stable as you can. Still getting flexibility into the ankle, but also adding in the hip and the knee as well. Keeping everything else nice and still. So those core muscles working, making sure when you slide the leg out, you're not arching your foot. When you slide the leg in, you're not tilting your pelvis and crushing your grape. So there's that trade marble stays still all the time. And then holding that there, crossing the arms at the wrist, just resting the arms on the abdomen. And then keeping everything else stable, moving the arms, circling the arms around. Keep that chin down over the peach and just circle the arms around. Nice big circle. Again, maybe one circle on an in-breath, one circle on an out-breath, making sure that the rib cage doesn't lift. If the rib cage lifts, why don't you take your arms over your head like that? Then don't take the arms quite so far over. You've really got to switch on those core muscles, keep that rib cage down, and then change direction, make this circle go the other way. Nothing else moving. So trying to keep your top still. If your t-shirt or your top, whatever you're wearing, starts to lift, then you know that that rib cage is flaring. And then having warmed up the shoulders, just bring the arms down, stretch your fingertips towards your toes, keep the length in the neck. And then nodding the head. Give the peach a squeeze as you exhale. Inhale to release. Exhale, turn the head and look over your right shoulder. Breathing in to bring it back. Breathing out to nod. Breathing in to release. Breathing out, turn the head and look to your left. And breathe in and bring it back. So you're not lifting the head off the floor at all. Giving the length in the neck. Having flexibility into the neck. So you're just doing your nod and release. Turn the head and bring it back. Reaching for your toes. Keeping the length in the neck. Shoulder blades melting into the floor. Shoulders relaxed. And then just finish off with a nod. And hold that there. And then maintain your trade marbles, of course, at all times. Just take a breath in and allow the knees to drop out to the side and breathing out to bring them back. So you've still got that kind of orange width between the knees. Keep your feet slightly apart and just drop and lift. But maybe putting your hands on your pelvis to make sure it's not moving. Back stays on the grape. And then make it a little bit trickier. Hold the glass of Prosecco on your left knee and allow the right knee just to drop as low as you can without the left leg moving, without the left hip lifting. So it's a little bit trickier. Only allow that knee to drop as far as you can without the opposing hip lifting. And maybe a couple more on that side. Keeping everything else as stable as you can. Tummy braced. And putting the Prosecco now on your right knee. Maybe inhale to drop, exhale to lift. Keeping everything else as stable as you can. And the inner thigh is working. A little bit of outer thigh, but mainly gravity as it takes it towards the floor. The important thing is to keep your pelvis as stable as you can. It's really working those deep, deep stabilizer muscles, 3 fingers below the tummy button. Don't forget that Prosecco. Keep checking it's there. And I think I've probably done about equal numbers on both sides. So holding that there, and then allowing your right knee to drop to the side, so the right side of the foot is on the floor. And you slide the foot straight out from the sit bone, turn the knee up and slide it back in. Then you go with the other foot. Just slide the foot, the side of the foot, straight out. Then you turn the knees and the toes up and slide back in. So you keep your heel in line with your sit bone all the time. Glass of Prosecco balanced on the leg that's not moving. Making sure when you drop the knee to the side, the opposing hip doesn't lift. And you keep that trade marbles absolutely still. So it's just a drop maybe as you exhale. Inhale to slide out. Exhale to turn up. Inhale to bring it back. Then you go with your exhale again. And sliding out. Turn the knee up. Slide it in. And then what about doing both together? In a way it's a little bit easier because your hips will stay on the floor, so the tummy muscles won't have to work quite so hard. Drop, slide. Now here's the hard bit. Turning the knees and the toes up and sliding in without your back arching or your pelvis tilting. So you just let the knees drop, heels straight out from the sit bones, turn the knees up and then slide back in. That's the hard bit for the core muscles, keeping everything else stable. So if it's too much, of course, go back to the alternate single leg. That's really hard work to drag those legs back in. Or you could take both the legs out, turn the knees and the toes up, and then slide one leg in and then the other leg in. That could be a sort of halfway house there. But if you can, both together. really hard work getting flexibility into your hips, your knees and your ankles, but really switching on those core muscles, making sure that back stays on the grip. And then when you've done enough of those, maybe you can make that a little bit more challenging if you want to. You could lift one leg up into tabletop, press your back into the mat, lift the other leg up into tabletop. This is slightly different. So if it's too much with the legs in the air, just stay with the earlier options. And then turning the knees out and bring the soles of the feet together. Keep that tummy braced. And then you're going to extend the legs out. Keep the heels turned in, the toes turned out. And squeeze those inner thighs together. Then you bring the soles of the feet together and bring the heels back down. So, but you don't drop them all the way down. You keep them about knee height. So you've got that 90-degree angle at the knee. And you squeeze up and you open, little flower at the top, turning the knees and the toes out. Make a little flower. And then turn in the soles of the feet and bring it back. If I turn my back to you, you can probably see that a little bit easier. So you're pushing up and squeeze those inner thighs. And then bring the soles of the feet together. Lower the heels, but not too low. So this is much, much more about your inner thighs and flexibility. But those core muscles still working. Now, if you wanted to work that one a little bit harder, what you do is, when you push the legs out, you extend them away from you. Now that's going to start to get right into the core muscles. Making sure your back doesn't arch as you push away. Now the lower you take those legs, when you extend them out, the harder that is going to be. Now that's about as low as I can take them without my back arching off that grip. So this is really hard work for the inner thighs, adding in those deep stabilizer muscles again. Again, you do as many as you want to. We can have the legs still straight up, any angle in between. Parallel to the floor if you can manage it. But you can always stay with that earlier option with the feet on the floor. And then when you've done enough of those, then just bring the knees into the chest. Have a little rock side to side. Release your back. And then put hands on tops of the knees. Push them around in a big circle. First one way, and then the other way, just to release the back. Then you'll need to stretch your inner thighs because you've worked those hard there. Bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees flop apart. Relax into that lovely stretch. Maybe bring the heels a little bit closer in towards your body and just let the weight of your legs do the work. Let the legs just relax towards the floor, holding that there. And extending the legs out. Maybe take the arms over the top of your head, stretch through from the tips of your fingers to your toes. And then the best way you know how, maybe you could breathe in, nod your head, float the arms up to the ceiling, breathing out, peel off up to sitting. Or remember that you can put the hands behind the lower back, bend from the waist and push up. Or you could hold on behind one thigh and do the reverse of what we did at the beginning and pull up with the weight of the leg. Or you could always even roll over onto your side and then push up to sitting position. And just sliding the feet in so the knees are up, feet flat on the floor. Keep the chin down over the peach, holding on behind the thighs, and start off nice and easy with a pelvic tilt. Breathing in to tilt, scooping out the tummy. Breathing out to lengthen, keeping the shoulders down. So just activate those tummy muscles, scoop out the tummy, create a C curve with your spine. Breathing in to tilt, breathing out to lengthen, making sure the shoulders don't creep up. Keeping the shoulders down, you've still got your peach underneath your chin, and the orange width between the knees. Getting flexibility into your spine, just moving your pelvis really. Your shoulders stay above your hips and you tilt the pelvis. And that will create that C curve, lengthen the spine. Maybe you could add on, maybe you could tilt the pelvis and then roll it back a little bit. Hold to breathe in, look over the orange, breathing out to C-shape up and straighten. Breathing in to tilt, breathing out to roll back, looking forward. Hold to breathe in and breathing out, keep that C curve, lengthen up. Then you're in the pointy bones of your bottom, you tilt the pointy bones forward, you roll back, keeping the shoulders down, hold it there, and then lengthen, getting lots of flexibility into your spine. And really working into those deep stabilizer muscles and adding in, of course, that rectus abdominis down the front. Maybe you could make that even more challenging. Maybe you could tilt the pelvis, create your C curve, and then as you roll back, just slide your hands down the backs of your thighs. Those stomach muscles will kick in. Hold to breathe in, breathing out to pull back up. Breathing in to tilt. Breathing out to roll back. Breathing in, sliding down. Breathing out, pull back up. If that's too much, of course, you don't need to add the slide. And you could just stay with the pelvic tilt if you need to. You can decide, trying to keep everything below the waist pretty still. So just a tilt, roll back, sliding down, and then pull back up. And of course you can reach forward if you haven't got the arms helping. Tilt and roll back, maybe just fingers over the knees, hold to breathe in, keep shoulders down, breathing out, C-shape up, straighten. You can decide if that's too much, you hold on behind the thighs. If you find you can do this, but you're getting a bit tight in the hip flexors, straighten the legs out, maybe point the toes, help to keep you anchored down. Breathing in to tilt, breathing out to roll back, keep those shoulders down. Hold to breathe in and breathing out to pull up. So you can decide, you can do bent legs, you can do straight legs, rolling back. And then maybe you could make that a little bit more challenging. Maybe you can lift the arms up towards the ceiling, keep the arms towards the ceiling, and roll back and pull back up. Probably best with the straight legs with this. Tilt and roll it back, arms up towards the ceiling, and pull back up. So just see how far you can go back with those arms still up towards the ceiling. It does make it more challenging. Again, more challenging, bent legs. See how far you can go back without those feet lifting. And then pull back up. Keeping those fingertips pointing up towards the ceiling. So bent legs or straight legs. You can probably go a little bit further back if you've got the straight legs. Nice and smooth. And then see if you can take it back that little bit further with each one. And then see if you can take it down and crush your grape. Oh, and pull back up. It's really hard with those arms up towards the ceiling. So you just go back as far as you can. Then maybe what we could do is we can tilt and roll all the way back when the shoulder blades touch. Take the arms over the top of your head, but not too far so the rib cage flares, just as far as you can while keeping your ribs down. Breathing in, nod your head, float the arms up towards the ceiling. Breathing out, peel off. And then do a big reach forward and stretch. Tilt the pelvis, create that C curve, and go down link by link, bone by bone, arms over the top of your head. Breathing in, nod your head, breathing out, peel off. Now if that's too much, you go back to any which one of the earlier options. You don't have to go all the way back, you can just go as far as you can with the arms up towards the ceiling or the arms forward, and then pull up and then reach forward. So it's just tilt, link by link, bone by bone. You go back down, arms over, nod your head, reach up, pull up again, or you can reach forward, and then the harder version, arms up, tilt, 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 and here's the hard bit, controlling it down as you go down, reaching back, but not allowing your rib cage to flare, and peeling off, reaching forward, tilt the pelvis, bring it back, arms up, reach up, 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 and then take it back, nod the head, reach up, and peel off. But you can decide which level. You can always go back behind the thighs, hands behind the thighs. You can just roll down a little way, you can have knees bent, knees straight, but really encouraging lots of flexibility into your spine. And really working rectus abdominis, the six-pack muscle, and the transverses to keep you stable. Then just do a big reach forward, tilt the pelvis, and then going all the way down, and then take the arms over the top of your head and give yourself a full body stretch from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. Lengthen through, hold that there. Just lift the rib cage away from the pelvis and have a lovely stretch. Then gently rolling over, please, onto your right side. Taking the arm back a little bit, let the head rest on the arm. Remember, you can always have the arm in front, pop a cushion or two under the head if that is not comfortable for the shoulder, or you could just put a cushion between ear and arm. And then rolling that top hip slightly forward, bending the bottom knee. Try and lift your waist up off that little flat hot stone, and just rest your left hand in front, but keep the shoulder down, lengthening through that top leg. And then lift the top leg, take it back just a little bit, flexing the foot. Now rotate the toes to the floor and toes to the ceiling. Toes to floor, toes to ceiling. It's getting some flexibility into the hip and getting some stretch through the back of the leg with the foot flexed. And of course challenging your core strength to keep that cup of tea still on the outside of the hip. So just ceiling and floor. Maybe exhale to turn up, inhale to turn down. And then just hold that there, and then start to draw some big circles in the air with that top leg. You might need to leave that left hand in front of you to keep absolutely stable while you do this. Big circle, maybe one circle on an in-breath, one circle on an out-breath, or half a circle on an in-breath, half a circle on an out-breath. And then change direction and make it go the other way. Always trying to keep that pelvis as stable as you can while you do this. Doesn't really matter whether you point or flex the foot, whichever works better for you. We could even just relax the ankle, because it's all going on in the hip, outside hip and thigh working. And then from there, just bring that leg back and extend the other leg out underneath. Keeping that waist lifted, still got that little gap between the waist and the floor. Try and keep the shoulder back and down, balancing on the hip. And then exhale to lift the top leg. Inhale, lift the bottom leg. Exhale, squeeze, and inhale down. So then outside hip and thighs working again. Then you're adding your inner thigh in. And doing exhale, lift. Inhale, bottom leg. Exhale, squeeze, and inhale down. Trying to keep the torso as stable as you can while you do that. Nice and smooth. Then see if you could add the upper body into that. Lift the top leg, lift the bottom leg, squeeze, press down with your right arm and lift the upper body. Hold to breathe in and breathing out to take that down. Of course, if that's too much, you don't need to do that. If your outside hip and thighs had enough, you could just work with the bottom leg only. You could add the upper body into that as well. Or you could do the legs and the upper body separately. But if you can, you lift the top leg, lift the bottom leg, squeeze, press down with the hand, press down with the forearm, slide your rib cage into your hips, hold to breathe in and breathing out to take it down. If it's too much, just do upper, lower separately, or you could just lift the top leg if it's too much to lift the bottom leg as well. But if you can, top leg, bottom leg, squeeze, hold, and push up. Hold it there. Focusing forward, make sure you're not heaving up with the head. Keep the peach underneath the chin all the time. Neck in line with the spine. And then maybe you could add on to that, lift, and push up, hold, slide the hand down, seam of trouser leg, balance. Put the hand back in front, and gently take it down. Or you could just leave the hand on the hip if you want to. Or you could put the hand behind to open the chest, pull the shoulder back and down. You decide which level you're going to do. Outside hip and thigh working, inner thigh working, waist of course, upper and lower, pressing down with the arm. Slide the hand down the seam of your trouser leg if you can, hold, and gently take it back down. Maybe one more time. Lift, lift, squeeze, push up and hold. Maybe slide that hand down the seam of the trouser leg, and then relax and bring it back down. And then when you've had a nice little rest there, bend the knees forward, give the outside of the hip a little rub and a smack. Get rid of any burn. And extend the legs out. Take the top arm over the top of your head, stay balanced. Take hold of that top wrist. Lift the rib cage out of the pelvis. Lengthen, stretch through and breathe. Holding that there. Get a good stretch. And then gently, please, roll over on to your front. And just extending the arms straight out in front of you, but sliding your shoulder blades down so the shoulders don't come up around the ears. Let the forehead rest on the floor, if that is comfortable. If it is not, just turn your head to the side and let your cheek rest. Lengthening through the legs, maybe take the legs out into a wider V shape, turn the big toes in towards one another. Let the heels flop apart just to relax the buttocks. Cup of tea on the back of the pelvis. And just from there, keep the head down and then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, hover the right arm off the floor and breathe in and put it down. Exhale, left arm off the floor and breathe in and put it down. So you're lifting and lowering alternate arms, getting flexibility into your shoulder. Keep the head down, the neck relaxed, the buttocks relaxed, but the tummy pulled up to keep the pelvis stable. So the neck is relaxed, just isolate the arms. And then see if you can add in opposite arm and leg. So you bring the legs back into alignment now. And then lift right arm, left leg. And then swap. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Reaching forward, stretching back. Keeping the neck relaxed still, working across the back and into the buttock. Getting flexibility still into the shoulders there. So just exhale to lift, inhale to lower. And then if you want to, you could add the head and the shoulders as well. So you would lift up, keep the eyes on the floor, arm by the ear by the arm. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Reaching forward, stretching back. If that's too much, of course, you can stay with the opposite arm and leg. Or you could leave the arms on the floor and just lift the head and the shoulders and the leg. You could do that instead. To work through the back as well as the buttock. Try to keep the ears pointing forward and the peach underneath the chin. No strain on the neck. Eyes focused on the floor. And then having a little rest when you've done equal numbers on both sides. Just hold that there, lengthening through, lengthen through the legs, and then see if you could do, perhaps, both together, with or without the head and the shoulders. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower, exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Now you can always turn your head to the side, let your cheek rest, And then turn the head, look at the floor as you lift. Then turn the cheek back down as you go back down. Try not to have any strain on the neck. If that's too much, of course you stay with opposite arm and leg. Or you could leave the head and shoulders on the floor. Just lift legs. And lift just the head and shoulders. Then the legs. So you could do any combination that you want to. But if you can, all together. Then you would see if you could hold it up, balance, right arm, left leg, and left arm, right leg, and swap. Lengthening through. Breathe, don't forget to breathe. Just do as many of those as you can, or just stay with any of the earlier options. And then when you've had enough, relax back down, come up onto the hands and knees, and do your lovely back stretch. Arch the back, drop the head, tuck that pelvis under, ears pointing down, get a good stretch through your spine, looking back between the thighs. Then because you work lower back and buttocks, if you can, sit back on the heels. Let the forehead rest down. You can have the arms stretched out in front. You can take the arms behind you, whichever works better. Maybe open those knees a little bit, get those hips back further. Or remember, you can always sit on your bottom, swing your legs round in front of you. Put a beach ball on your lap, reach over the beach ball for your toes, and tuck the pelvis underneath the beach ball. Or you could hug the knees into the chest and drop the head over the knees. Just get a good stretch, whichever position works for you for the lower back and the buttocks. Then just taking that onto your left side. Take a moment again to set that up. Use your cushions if you need to. And rolling that top hip slightly forward, balancing. Bending that bottom knee. And then lifting the top leg. Try and lift your waist as well off that hot stone. Have your cup of tea on the outside of your hip. Take the leg back just a little bit. Flex the foot. And then point the toes down. And point the toes up. You can leave the hand in front. Or you could put the hand behind to open the chest. Pull the shoulder back and down. And just focus on that hip. Turn down. Turn up. Pushing back just a little bit, so the buttock engages, but maybe the outside of your hip and thigh, and a bit of inner thigh, and maybe about flexibility and mobility into that hip. Just turning down, maybe as you inhale, exhale to turn up, and keep going with that. A couple more maybe. Just turn down and up, trying to keep that torso though as stable as you can. Then hold the leg and then bring it forward and take it back. Big circle. As big a circle as you can manage. Now you might want to put the hand in front to help to keep you stable while you do that. Doesn't really matter whether you flex or point, or you can just have the ankle relaxed. Maybe one circle on an in-breath, one circle on an out-breath, or even half a circle on an in-breath, half a circle on an out-breath. Nice and smooth though. Really feel that movement into your hip, but everything else stays still. Hold and make it go the other way. Somebody forgot to switch her phone off and it's just pinged a message in there. Just circling, circling, circling. Big circle. Feel the outside hip and thigh work, but really switching on those core muscles to keep everything absolutely stable while you do that. Hopefully not too many creaks and crunches going on in the hip there. Lots of balance. And then hold, extend that bottom leg out. Check you've got that nice straight line. You might want to turn and look down at your toes. Just check you can see the tips of your toes and align yourself up with your mat. Then, keeping that waist lifted, your cup of tea still, maybe hand in front to start with. Exhale to lift the top leg. Inhale to lift the bottom leg. Exhale to squeeze and inhale to lower down. Just exhaling up, inhaling up, exhale to squeeze and inhale down. Then your outer thigh works, your inner thigh works. Waist, upper and lower working. Lengthening through the neck so the neck stays relaxed, lengthening through the legs, making sure that you don't bend at the knees. Straight legs. Then if you want to, you could add on to that. You could lift the top leg, lift the bottom leg, squeeze, press down with that right hand, left forearm, and lift your upper body up. Slide the rib cage into the hips and gently take it back down. Exhale up, inhale up, exhale push, inhale hold, and gently, gently take it back down. On the out breath, and you breathe in to prepare to start again. If it's too much, of course, you could leave the top knee on the floor, lift the bottom leg, and lift the upper body. You could do that if your top leg's had enough, or if the bottom leg doesn't want to lift, you could just lift the top leg. But you decide which level. If you can, top leg, bottom leg squeeze, and lift. Then again, you can make that a little bit more challenging. You can lift the top leg, lift the bottom leg, push up, and then slide your hand down the seam of your trouser leg, reach for your toes, balance. And then gently bring it back down. But you can decide which level you want to stay with. Pushing up, and then if you can, hand down. Keep the neck in line. A little bit of wobbling going on here. And then gently back down. You could, of course, maybe just leave the hand there. And then lift the top leg, lift the bottom leg, and reach. A little bit more challenging without that hand there to help. But you decide which level you want to do. Lift, lift, and reach. Again, as I say, a bit of wobbling on that one. Reaching down. And you decide how many repetitions you would like to do. Remember, you can always pause and do a few more. And then relax back down when you've done enough. And bring the knees forward. Give the outside of the hip a little rub and a smack. Get rid of any burn that might be going on in there now. And then stretch the legs out. Take the top arm over the top of your head. Take hold of that top wrist. Lengthen, lengthen, lift the rib cage. And stretch. Hold and stretch. And then if you just want to gently, when you've had a good stretch there, roll over onto your back. And bring the chin down over the peach. Taking the arms out to the side, crucifix position. Take the feet out onto the sides of your mat, so wide legs. And then rolling your knees over to your right side, turn the head and look along your left arm. Hold that there. Get a good stretch around your middle, your hips, down the side of your body and your neck. And then if you want to increase the intensity of that stretch, you would put your right foot on top of your left thigh. Hold that there. Just hold and stretch. Flexibility and mobility. Stretching those muscles that you have just worked. And replacing that foot. And then change to the other side. Just take the knees over. Hold that there. Turn the head. Look along the right arm now. Now if that's enough for you, leave it there. Otherwise, you can put your left foot on top of your right thigh. Hold and stretch. Just give it a really, really good stretch. And then bring the foot back to the floor. Bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees flop apart. Maybe bring the arms down by your side. And allowing the weight of your legs to do the work. Just stretch those inner thighs. Relax into that stretch. Maybe bring the arms down by your side now. Hold that there. Just let the weight of those legs do all the work. And then if you just want to stretch the legs out, take the arms over the top of your head and give yourself a full body stretch from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. Lengthen and stretch. Lift the rib cage out of the pelvis and lengthen the legs. Then when you've got a lovely stretch there, gently please, rolling over onto your front. Then taking the forehead down onto the back of one hand, reach behind with the other hand for the foot on the same side. Bring the heel to the bottom, the knees together, pressing the hip into the floor, stretching the front of the thigh and the hip flexor. Remember, you can always lift the head and the shoulders to get that extra stretch if you want to, but make sure you don't engage your neck. Keep the eyes focused on the floor. Remember, you can always get hold of your sock or your trouser leg instead. And then changing legs. Heel to bottom, knees together, press the hip down, lift the head and the shoulders if you want to. Remember, you can always cross the ankle over and hold it in if you can't get the foot. Get a good stretch in the front of your hip and thigh. And then replacing the foot to the floor, coming up onto the hands and knees. Arch the back, drop the head, pull the tummy button up and in. Get a good stretch through your spine, back of the neck to the tail. Tucking that pelvis right under, dropping the head right down. And then just sit back onto the heels again. And let the forehead rest down. Remember, if that is not comfortable, you sit on your bottom, swing your legs around in front of you, reach over the beach ball for your toes. Or you could sit and hug the knees into the chest, drop the head over the knees, whichever works better. But just try and get a really good stretch in the lower back and those buttocks that you've worked. Sinking back. Breathing full and wide. And then from there, if you just want to come back up onto the hands and knees. Walking the hands into the knees, tuck the toes under. Hover the knees off the floor, push the hips up into the air. Walking the hands into the toes with the head down, the knees slightly bent. Engaging the tummy and slowly come up. Link by link, bone by bone, up against that imaginary wall. And then maybe coming off your mat now. Checking the position, opening the chest, and then just bring the right heel onto that left ankle and bring the hands into prayer position. If you can, you slide the foot up and you balance. Hold that there. If not, you just leave the toes on the floor. And then when you hung around there for a bit, you change legs. Heel in, or you could just slide the foot up, balancing. And always one side better than the other side. Might be a bit of wobbling on the ankle, that doesn't matter at all. Strengthening the ankle. And then again, here or so. Or you could take hold of the foot, the ankle, bring the leg up, press the foot in, and then bring it back into prayer. See how long you can hold that one for. Shoulders back and down. That's too much. You stay with the heel against the ankle or the sole of the foot against the calf. And have a go on the other side, it might be easier. Heel or sole, or lift up and balance, press hard in to the thigh. Press the thigh to the foot and the foot to the thigh, and then bring it back into prayer. And balance. And just see how long you can hold that one for. Then we've hung around there for a bit. Just relax the foot down, bring the arms down by your side, and drop the right ear down into your shoulder while you slide the left hand down the seam of the trouser leg. Hold that there. Stretch neck, stretch shoulder. Then lift the arm up and reach across. Lift the rib cage out of the pelvis, press down with that left foot. Lengthen. Bring it back, stretching the fingertips down. Turn the head and look down at that right shoulder. Keeping the chest open. Slowly turn the head. Look up and behind into the left corner, as far back and up as you can, without moving the torso. And then gently drop the chin all the way down into the chest. Like those shoulder blades down your back, shoulders away from the ears. Lengthening, lengthening through the neck. Tailbone down, zip and hollow, pulling the pelvic floor up. And then lifting the head up. Drop that left ear. Hold that there. While you slide that right hand down the seam of your trouser. Just get the stretch in the neck first. And then lift that arm up and reach across. Pressing that right foot into the floor. Try not to twist your upper body. Arm by the ear, ear by the arm. And then gently bring it back. Turn the head, look down at that left shoulder. Always keeping the shoulders back and down, tailbone pointing down. Then turning the head, looking up and behind into that right corner, as far back and up as you can. And then dropping the chin all the way down into the chest. Lifting the head. Now release the shoulders, forward, up and round and back and down. Get those shoulders moving again. Big, big, big shoulder roll. And then just relax, lift the arms up, bend the knees, swing the arms, drop the head, and just loosen it all up again. Drop the head, swing the arms, loosen it all up, knees going straight forward over the toes, and then bring it back to your perfect Pilates posture, which you can maintain until this time next week, because we'll have to do some more videos. Please stay well, look after yourselves, and please keep exercising, because when we do get back to classes, if you haven't been doing your exercising, it will hurt. See you next week. Bye for now.